Hey everyone, my name is Adrienne and I'm going to teach you how to continue with the third row of our single crochet stitch item here. So we have our chain row, which is the first row, and then our first row of single crochet stitches here, and then we just did our last chain stitch on that row and then turned our work. So this is where we were. This is where we're starting for our class. So here's where we're at, and then we chained one and turned our work. So this is where we're at now. So what we want to do is we want to skip this first little loop here, and see there's not really a hole there that you can really put your crochet hook through. It would be kind of difficult to do. You want to go through this larger hole. So you never want to go through this first one. So we want to go through the hole, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through, and we're going to yarn over again and pull through both those loops. Now we're going to do that again all the way down. So we have 15 stitches all the way down, and that's what we started with as well. We always want 15 stitches for this specific project. So if you have more than 15 stitches in each row, you probably went through that first loop, which we don't want to do. So we're going to want to pull the yarn and start over with that row. But for right now, we're just going to keep going through this row. So again, we're going to go through the stitch, and we're going to yarn over. And the way that I hold my yarn, it's always on the left. So when I go through the stitch, my yarn is it's over already. But I'll show you, if you don't want to hold your yarn that way, then we can do that. So if you want to hold your yarn loose, you can certainly do that, and then you can go through and then yarn over like that, and then pull it through, yarn over again, pull it through. And that makes the loop just a little bit larger because it's a little bit more loose because you didn't have tension here. And that's absolutely fine, especially when we're learning. We're just learning what works for us, so you can certainly do that. Another thing that you may notice when I am doing my crochets is my needle, or my hook, excuse me, will go through the crochet upside down. So I kind of turn it so that the hook is on the bottom part to go through, and then I turn it this way to grab that piece of yarn, and then I kind of turn it upside down again to pull it through. And then when I yarn over, I kind of put it upside down again to pull through, and that just kind of helps it to hang on to this piece of yarn so it doesn't fall off your hook, which as you're learning, and even when you're not learning, that happens. It just falls off your hook. Here, I'll show you. You go through and you go through, and then it just falls off. See? And that's just kind of part of learning it, and you kind of figure out your method of trying to keep it on there. But as you learn, you'll get better at it. So we're still just going through, pulling that yarn through, over, pull through, going through, grabbing that yarn, over again, pull through, going through, grabbing that yarn, over, pull through. Okay, only a few more left of this row. So I'm going to speed it up here just a sec. Okay, last one here. So this guy is our very last one of this row. So we're going to go ahead and count, make sure I have 15. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we have 15 here, which is great. That's what we want. So we're at the end of our row here. Now we're going to do the same thing we did in our last video, or maybe this is the first time you're learning it. But at the end of the row, we're going to yarn over. We're going to pull through, and that's called chaining one. So that's one chain stitch. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn our work around. So we're going right to left. We are going to skip this first stitch. We always want to skip that first stitch unless your pattern says specifically to do that. But generally speaking, we're going to skip that first one because if we do that one, we're going to have 16 stitches, and we don't want that. So we're going to skip that first loop. We're going to go into this one. And you can also see there's not really a hole there to put the hook through. So this one has a nice hole we're going to put our hook through. So we're going to go through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So again, we're going to go through the next hole, through, grab that yarn, yarn over, pull through. If it's easier for you to understand to grab the yarn rather than yarning over, that's absolutely fine. We can go through, grab that yarn, pull through, over, pull through. So we're just going to keep on doing that, and we're going to go back and forth and until we get to the length that we want. So when you are crocheting, one of the things that happens is that you'll let the yarn go, or you'll set your project down for a little while and you come to pick it up and you grab onto this part of your project and it just unravels like this, which it's sad when that happens, but you can always just redo it. So you just put your hook through your loop again and you just redo what you did. So you can certainly do that, or when you're going to be putting your project down for a minute, you can either leave your hook in there to hold the spot, because if you're pulling on this and your hook's in there, it's not going to move and it's not going to pull through, but your hook can still just fall out. So what I like to do is using a little stitch marker, which is this little safety pin looking guy, and just sticking that through that loop just to hold your place. And that is just a nice and easy way to make sure that you're not going to accidentally pull your loop through. See here, I'm pulling, it's not going to go anywhere. So you always know where that loop is. When we are making our stuffed animal, we will be using our stitch markers to actually help with counting, but for now, we can just have it help us keep our place so that we don't accidentally pull our work through. So. Alright, so that is what we're going to do with this project. We're just going to keep going up and down each row, 15 stitches, and then doing a chain 1 and turning our work and just keep going up and down. And next week we're going to learn a few more stitches.